On the second level, Carol's identified that business needs to obey the law in the world. This is the international as well as domestic laws in each country, so paying its workers the legal wage for the age, suppliers and contractual obligations they meet, abiding by basic health and safety and even international climate standards. So how does H&M do this, and for who? In almost all countries that it operates in, they pay workers the legal minimum wage. They do have scandals. The workers in factories are reportedly paid less than 25 cents below the minimum wage, but H&M have said that this is not true, and that in the factories they're all paid the legal minimum wage. However, this was further highlighted in 2018 when the women's rights scandal abuse was published, which they also. H&M's values seem to be taken from an agile manager's playbook. They're one team who believe in people, aim for constant improvement and entrepreneurial spirit in everything they do, whilst keeping it simple and straightforward and cost conscious, being ranked one of the most transparent companies in the world with a 74% score from the Fashion Transparency Index. But how does this openness affect communities, workers, governments and the environment? As a company, H&M's strategy is clear: go green or go home. The company has invested heavily in green practices and has sought to be carbon neutral by 2040 with a fully recycled range. The goal of becoming the leading green apparel retailer with a big ambition. How do they stack up in the wider society? As a company, they have had huge supply chain problems. We've seen this with Bangladesh fire, killing over 179 people. The event brought international condemnation and forced H&M to change the way they work with business and community in Bangladesh and enforce changes to the factories regarding health and safety and checks. Additionally, H&M is clear that it does not take responsibility for the factories, and the cost of enforcing changes in the factories are still less than the initial fire itself, meaning it was more cost prevention than ethical. The pyramid is almost a Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but for business. At a first level, business must fulfill their economic responsibility and be profitable. By this we mean buy and sell goods at a profit. In a raw sense, a process where an entity can sell goods to a consumer and receive compensation for it. And by this metric, H&M are one of the most successful businesses around, with year-on-year increases in profit. However, in light of the pandemic, H&M's profit was down a whopping 74%, recording Q2 losses of 700 million. But as the world begins to open and in light of the vaccine rollout, H&M's revenue has rose 13% and recorded a profit of £500 million between December 2020 and August 2021. On the second level, Carol's identified that business needs to obey the law in the world. This is the international as well as domestic laws in each country, so paying its workers the legal wage for the age, suppliers and contractual obligations they meet, abiding by basic health and safety and even international climate standards. So how does H&M do this, and for who? In almost all countries that it operates in, they pay workers the legal minimum wage. They do have scandals. The workers in factories are reportedly paid less than 25 cents below the minimum wage, but H&M have said that this is not true, and that in the factories they're all paid the legal minimum wage. However, this was further highlighted in 2018 when the women's rights scandal abuse was published. About H&M, who they should be and where we want them to go, we need to have a goal in mind, and that is to be a B Corp. A B Corp is a profitable business that's committed to having a positive impact on society and the environment. The B Corp's stakeholders aren't just shareholders, they include employees, suppliers and much more. The 2019 B Corp Summit said it clear: businesses are possible solutions to people on the planet. So to become a B Corp, you have to get a rigorous certification through B Lab. And a lot of businesses do this. Businesses that did take part in this in 2015 have seen 14% increases in revenue, much more than the average, which is why we now have 3,500 B Corps. The last level is philanthropic responsibility. In 2021, it's strange to imagine that business would not fulfill its legal responsibility, but still have fantastic philanthropic responsibility, maybe due to its ability to be leveraged as a marketing strategy. But H&M is heavily involved in its communities, funding waste picks in India and even creating a textile tracker to allow investors to support sustainable fashion. H&M is a big proponent of the UN Sustainable Development for 2030. It is huge on its environmental impact, but critics argue that H&M is taking advantage of what is now known as philanthropy of self-interest, using greenwashing as a tool to gain more profit and not to care about the community, compensating for their shortfalls that they have in workers to boast profits rather than a genuine sacrifice of it. But the company, for the most part, pays workers the minimum wage of the countries it operates in and abides by all laws, health and safety and governance in each region. But that's what H&M do, they just obey the law. According to the Times, H&M don't give workers in the US paid vacations, but give 25 days to the Swedish employees, obeying just the minimum amount of law in each country it operates in. The third level of Carol's pyramid is concerned with ethical responsibility, so doing what is right and just. Laws do cover the basics of what is ethical, but it's a large room for corporations like H&M to do what is ethical. To be ethical means to manage your own externalities, to reduce your carbon footprint, to recycle and to pay your workers a fair wage under each country's law, to think sustainably, and H&M does this in many ways. They have an ambition to have a climate positive value chain by 2040, which even if missed a couple of years is still ahead of the competition and the 2050 Climate Paris Change Agreement. They also have launched a sustainable clothing line, available in all stores from 100% recyclable material. supporting Merck's in developing more eco-friendly oil for ships, and even creating a market-leading coalition with E.ON and Siemens called the Pathways Coalition. It can be argued as not drastic enough based on the COP26 summit, but still far ahead of its competitors in terms of social responsibility and being ethical. However, H&M have huge problems in regard to their ethical behaviour with workers, paying below minimum wage, human rights abuses in women, and having a store policy of hiring workers on zero-hour contracts, specifically students and younger workers. Governance, H&M have some strong similarity with Patagonia. Since the Bangladesh fire, much like Patagonia does with their natural environment and community, H&M is set to engage with factories, local business groups and labour unions to develop strong health and safety policies for the region and ensure wages have risen 4.9% since 2018 shortfall targets. Since the fire, H&M have signed a one-to-one legally binding agreement. The agreement contained independent oversight of brands by unions, and it also commits to explore how trade unions and brands together with other national industry stakeholders can strengthen their health and safety, but it still falls short of where Patagonia are, and here's where they could improve. What they could do to ensure better governance was to make it their mission statement and commit to safeguarding stakeholders, just like Patagonia do with their 1% self-imposed tax. They could aim to be climate positive, but go beyond that and restore the environment that they actually don't use. This is something they could add to their eco-friendly collection. Regarding workers, H&M do have a lot in common with Patagonia regarding some aspects of their workers. They give all employees equal rights and conditions of employment, but they do fall consistently short. H&M workers are often given zero-hour contracts in stores with no benefits and no time off. Zero-hour contract workers are mainly used to keep costs low and are given little stability in their job. There's no option for ownership unless you are an executive. This is much different to B Corps like Patagonia, who have flexible working schedules, generous salaries, subsidised childcare, and even give paid vacation for environmental activism. Introducing these laws to H&M will prevent burnout and allow them to be a more ethical company who better supports their workers. Regarding the environment, H&M really do excel, aiming to achieve a global ban on animal testing for beauty products. Their projects with Maersk is groundbreaking in the shipping industry. They have introduced a fully sustainable line of recycled products and work with the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. By 2040, they'll have a fully circular supply chain, product offering and packaging. But here's where they do go wrong and where they could really improve. They don't take legal responsibility for the factories and produce tons of waste. They haven't said they'll purchase carbon credits from companies. Some areas H&M can improve in. Patagonia have workshops for people to learn about the sustainable economy and encourage people to buy less of the products and make their products to last a long time. Something like this would be great for H&M. H&M thrive off the one-time single-use economy. They need to change this in how they approach it and make it a bigger role ensuring consumers buy in a circular economy and buy less but buy better. H&M have made a great commitment to its community. Every factory has to publish Every factory they work with has to publish the pay of its workers beforehand as a pre-requirement to working for them. A huge way H&M have set to engage with the community and support them in a socially responsible way is the trial of the collective impact approach method. But I do think H&M can do better. One clear way of this is mitigating the externalities. H&M make little reference to the effects of children growing up without mothers who are working 70 hours weeks in their factories. The H&M Foundation, although fantastic programs, is centered around innovation and their technologies and empowering women. But in reality, allowing talented women to progress is the law. The technology innovation is to achieve the 2050 legal requirement by the EU under the Paris Climate Change Agreement, which again is the law. I think H&M needs to do what Patagonia does and include non-executives on the board. Additionally, train young activists to better communicate and affect political discourse. As you can see, Patagonia is being preventative in the community. It's preventing problems, and H&M is just reacting to them. They reacted to the Bangladesh fire, the monkey jumpers, the racial profile, the Paris Climate Agreement, and I think H&M needs to start to do that. They need to act bigger in their community and be preventative. It's close to what Patagonia do, but not truly there, and that's why people won't spend the extra buck. But Carol's Pyramid does fall short in its depiction of a truly socially responsible business. Firstly, it doesn't give a business a goal. It doesn't say if you earn this much and spend X amount on philanthropy, you are philanthropic. It's a very casual approach to social responsibility, unlike the B Corp, which sets a clear fixed framework of ethical business that is monitorable through the B Lab and published in business reports. But I don't want to just use one model to analyse H&M. I really want to consider the UN's 17 climate goals and how H&M compare, because I really do think Carol's Pyramid falls short on the importance of climate change and the climate crisis we are facing. In 2015, the UN member states agreed on 17 global goals for achievements by 2030, including ending poverty and hunger, creating decent work and economic growth, achieving equality and combating climate change, which due to the ambition of H&M, they definitely fall short. They do hit some goals. They stand up for human rights goals, goal 15, we've seen that in China. They avoid using plastic bags, goal 25. And we've also seen them combating climate change and global warming, goal 12. But on the ethical side, they really do fall short. They have no real programme to help educate children in the community, goal 4, or climate poverty or hunger, goals 1 and 2. In fact, they've actually increased inequality and poverty in communities in Bangladesh by paying workers less than what inflation occurs in the area, meaning each year workers work for them, they get poorer in their local economy. When we talk about a company being ethical and moral, what do we mean? What do we want H&M to be? We need a model to assess this and to better understand what a company like H&M are and what they bring to the table in regard to workers, governance, community and the environment. So we're helped to use a model like Carroll's Pyramid. In short, Carroll's Pyramid is a 4-part definition of corporate and social responsibility, and Carroll's CSR Pyramid offers a framework on how they should act and ought to be in society, consisting of economic, legal, ethical and philanthropic responsibility. The company has also been affected by the rise in social justice and faces a huge backlash from a child wearing a racially insensitive hoodie and racial profiling in the stores. H&M, the $12 billion company, is a staple of every high street in the UK and the second largest clothing apparel retailer in the world. It takes in £1 billion every year from the British consumer, with pre-COVID sales in the UK nearing 1.5 billion. But what does this multinational corporation believe in? Its values and mission is clear: to invest in people, companies and innovative ideas to drive long positive change and improve living conditions. Its vision is to lead the change towards a circular and climate positive fashion whilst being a fair and equal company, with 3 clear goals set out: being fair and equal in their jobs and inclusion, being circular and climate positive, and leading the change in the 21st century. The vision is ambitious and, if true, would make H&M the perfect company. H&M's values seem to be taken from an agile manager's playbook. They're one team who believe in people, aim for constant improvement and entrepreneurial spirit in everything they do, whilst keeping it simple and straightforward and cost conscious, being ranked one of the most transparent companies in the world with a 74% score from the Fashion Transparency Index. But how does this openness affect communities, workers, governance and the environment? As a company, H&M's strategy is clear: go green or go home. The company has invested heavily in green practices and is sought to be carbon neutral by 2040 with a fully recycled range, with a goal of becoming the leading green apparel retailer. With a big ambition, how do they stack up in the wider society? As a company, they have had huge supply chain problems. We've seen this with Bangladesh fire, killing over 179 people. The event brought international condemnation and forced H&M to change the way they work with business and community in Bangladesh and enforce changes to the factories regarding health and safety and